Da-da-da. Boom. There we go. Now we got sound. We got audio. Sorry about that, folks. I get to do that whole preamble once again. Let's get going with this. So it's Friday. It's Friday. We're doing stuff and we're have technical difficulties and all that. I haven't even finished packing my bags. I'm out of here tomorrow morning. So that's a thing. Heading off to Ontario. And we're gonna have a conference, which we're probably gonna talk about today. It's gonna be fun. Some great people are coming. I'm gonna be hooking up with Wyatt Claypool as well as Jasmine Lane and Josh from the Elevate podcast. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. Also Daniel Boardman. Who else? There's a ton of people. Tell me the audio is working now. Let's get you guys in here. Chat, come on in. Come on in. Some people still having problems with the audio. No. That's just, you're just behind in the stream. That's all that is. And you know what I need to do? I need to make this screen a little bigger so I can read your chats a little easier. I'm getting up there in age, folks. It's not it's not that easy anymore. I got that today. People are like, what? You married how long? And what? you don't look old enough for that. We'll see. Okay. We got it. It's perfect. I love the Italian hand, Jay. That's really awesome. So let's start it off. Let's start it off with, I hope everyone's having a nice wobbly pop this evening. Get yourself one of those. Sit down. We're going to hang out. Yeah, absolutely. Am I getting the same chat? I mean, chat doesn't look the same top to bottom. Let me fix that and make sure I'm on live chat, because that's what everybody wants to see, the live chat. Put me on VIP list for Toronto, Clyde. Yeah, what? So yeah, I'm going out to Toronto. I'm going to this it's a big meeting. It's a big event that's happening. Let me pull that up on the screen here. Just give me 2 seconds, 2 shakes. And I'll get to that. I should have had this up ahead of time, but I didn't. What am I doing? What am I doing indeed? So yeah, this is the event. It is gonna be great. Pop this up on the screen. Here we go. I'll be in Toronto for this weekend for the United Against Extremism National Security Conference. If you're there, get your tickets here. The link is there. I can copy that link and put it in the chat for you guys if you want to get a last minute one. But the big thing is I think they're doing some filming of this, so you'll be able to go get. Did that come up correctly? Yeah, it did. It totally did. Okay, so they're gonna be filming a bunch of this stuff for this, and that's what's gonna be going on. TAFSIC, yeah, TAFSIC is a Jewish community organization in Canada, and they're helping putting this on, as well as the Canada India Foundation. They're helping to put this presentation on, which is good because they're going to be bringing up a lot of issues that have been coming to the country. They're obviously concerned about overseas issues bleeding back and becoming Canadian issues. They don't want that. They want their communities to be secure, and they want Canada to be secure. So they're talking about national security and some organizations that are crazy doing their thing here in Canada and putting people's lives at risk, and that's really the issue there. Big D with a $10 super chat. Thank you so much. Says 3 cheers for Carney and the Liberal Party of Canada helping Alberta get its independence one stupid decision at a time. Absolutely. If anything is going to help with Alberta independence, it's probably going to be the news that just broke today, which we'll get into. We're absolutely going to get into that, and that's that. Sorry, where was I? Too late. It already has become a Canadian problem. This is why, you know, people are organizing to make sure that this doesn't remain a Canadian problem. Large funding coming from the Canadian Indian Foundation for this, and that's because they want it to not be a Canadian problem. A lot of this unfettered immigration has been a big, horrible situation for the Indo-Canadian community. Now, traditionally, we always saw Indians that immigrated to Canada as some of the top tier immigrants that we've ever gotten in Canada. There was always a case of people that assimilate very well into Canadian society, largely speaking the language already before they come over, bringing lots of skills and all of that stuff with them. And dude, you can't just be mean in the chat. You gotta correct that, or you're out. That's the way it's gonna go. Don't just go throwing insults out there in the chat. But let's go on with this. So yeah, it's their reputation is being lost, and it's not because of any fault of their own. It's the fault of the Canadian government. This is the problem. There are problem people around the world, and when you have an immigration system, you don't want the problem people coming in. You want a good immigration system that brings people in based on their merit, and we only want to take good people from around the world. So if there's criminals coming in from other places of the world, there's I mean, criminals and hooligans and people who aren't they don't have any business being here because they don't have any skills to bring to the table, and they're really only just bringing entry level skills, which we could obviously get from our youth, and we should be getting from our youth. This is the kind of thing. So this is what's being brought up in this whole situation. No more Indian Circle came on. So this is the problem. When we have immigrants coming over the country, they shouldn't be coming with the goal of working for in an entry level position. This is the thing. We need to be bringing people in that will fill the roles of that Canada needs, right? So if there are roles that we're lacking, then that's the kind of thing that we would shop around and look and see if we can fill with some good people. But that's the problem. Yeah, import third world problems become the third world, and that's largely what we've been doing in Canada. So this is a great event because this event is largely railing against that. Now we could get into some of the crappy stuff that came in about this later, perhaps in the stream, but I'm gonna move on because we're gonna get to some better stories in the meantime. Trish Proof for $6.99 says, "Vote Liberal. Trump hinted they'll be easier to deal with," he said. Lamau, hit that like button. Everybody, please hit that like. Hit that. Smash that like. I'm gonna turn the fan on because it's getting warm in here. I haven't even had a sip of my wobbly pop yet. Well, I might as well get into it. So one of the things that's also an extremism thing, like we've seen the Palestinian protests, which are getting more and more heated every day, and they're literally attacking Jewish immigrants or people who have long been in Canada since like a long time ago, but just happen to be Jewish, going after them. That is astronomically a no. This shouldn't be happening in Canada. This shouldn't be a thing at all. But there's a lot of these organizations that feel that they can just do this. We have Khalistani movement where they're running. I mean, an organization that was known for the largest terror attack in Canadian history, and is still operating today. Like, largely, it's a fringe little tiny group, but at the same time, it's like, what they are operating within our borders. This is a big concern, and this is a concern that we don't want to have. Now, what came up out of this whole thing is people started attacking me because it's put on by a Jewish and an Indian thing. Now, the people that were attacking me are largely known online and preach about white ethno-nationalism in Canada. Now, these are a group of people that are actually talking about deporting Canadian citizens, Canadian-born citizens, people who have been here for generations, but happen to be of a different ethnicity than white, and are actually advocating that we have a new deportation policy of deporting Canadian citizens out of the country because based on racial grounds. And yeah, that's dumb, right? This is completely against all of our morals in a free, fair society. Liberty is a huge thing, and I'll stand behind liberty all the way. So, and not only that, I mean, personally, my wife is not Canadian. She's not white, and she moved here from Japan, and we have a multiracial family, and we love it. And this is something that should be encouraged in Canada, and we should see lots more of that. But this one group that attacked me came out very vehemently against me with this whole thing. So if you can go over to Twitter and you can see all the replies to it. But this was the most triggering thing that they saw, because as they're saying all these racial slurs about Indian people and Jewish people, I found out that they're probably the most thin-skinned people on the planet. I've never run into a more thin-skinned group of individuals that are happy to throw out insults and names, but they can't handle it coming back at them. I said my coming appearance at this week's event has triggered Canada's finest inbreds. Hint: Canada has never been, nor will ever be, a white-only country, which of course leads to a lot of people replying with, well, at one point Canada had a large majority of, yeah, but it was never a white-only country. It was never a country that's baseline legal system says you have to be white to be in this country. It's never been a thing. And people, I mean, it's like self-report much. So many people self-reporting that they're for this and saying, how dare you call us inbreds? Well, how dare I call the people who want a white-only society in Canada and to, by extension, deport people that are Canadian citizens that have probably been here for over 100 years. That's the kind of thing. So that's, a big self-report if you think that I'm calling you an inbred, because that would be the thing that happened there. Gisela chasing Clyde for taking their women. Rita, well, okay. So I was expecting this. There's gonna be a bunch of attacks in the live stream tonight, and this is the reason why. So I mean, might as well just get ahead of it here. So if you see attacks, either those people are completely misread on what was said here, but I was name calling. Yes, I was name calling. I was name calling to people who actually think that Canada was and should be legally a white-only country. So to those people, enjoy it. Enjoy it. Canada will never be a country that deports people for not being white. Sorry, it's not the way it goes. So that's my stance on that one. And if you don't like it, well, you know where you can go. One of the biggest advocates, incidentally, for sound immigration in Canada is a good friend of mine, and his name is Darshan Maharaja. So when people are saying, hey, this, we need better immigration policy. Well, you know what? Some of the best and brightest people fighting for good immigration are immigrants themselves. So take that one with you and enjoy. Absolutely enjoy. That's where we're going with that one. So let's get into it. Let's get into the story. Oh, Canada. Oh, Canada. Oh, Canada. What are you doing? What are you doing? Well, I know that Canada is, let's just say, full of people who just don't even know what's happening. And this is the saddest part, is because so many people are so, I want to say, uninformed. And that's true. There are so many people who are uninformed. There are a lot of people who are uninformed, but there are so many people that are misinformed about lots of things, especially when it comes to trade in Canada. When it comes to trade in Canada, people are absolutely misinformed. And you know what? We are going to suffer the consequences of this. Absolutely. And here's the story now. What broke today? The breaking news, and this is coming from everywhere now because everybody's read it, everybody's seen it, and it's like, what are you doing, Canada? Really? Really? Do you think right now it's not bad enough? Do you think it's not bad enough? Oh boy, can it get worse. Oh boy, can it get worse. Holy cow. And you know what? Maybe that's what Canada needs to go through in order to make some better decision making. I mean, look at South America. All the way down in Argentina, it took a lot for them to walk away from craziness and socialism and all of this stuff. And hey, guess what? There's great hope for that now because they have a great president, Javier Milei. But would we have a Javier Milei? Would the voters in Canada actually vote for Javier Milei if that were to be the election tomorrow? Well, obviously, we just had an election, and instead of going with conservatives, they went with the liberals because we get so wrapped up. We get so wrapped up in this stuff, and it's just crazy. I don't know why Carney didn't just give Trump what he wanted. This tax was ridiculous from the beginning. Oh boy, was it ever. It was just like the Bill C-18 tax, which they said it wasn't a tax. It was a tax. It was a tax on media companies for putting news links, for their users putting news links on their websites. It's crazy. Yeah, the link tax. And what was the result of it? Well, Canadians just don't get to see Canadian news on a lot of platforms. That's about that. Google did pay the tax. They pay $100 million per year to the government. And this is another extortion racket, is another thing. Anyway, let's get into this. Breaking Trump has just said he is about to Canada is about to be slapped with increased tariffs after he learned they're imposing a new digital service tax on the USA. That is just insane. Here's what Donald Trump said. We have just been informed that Canada, a very difficult country to trade with, including the fact that they have charged our farmers as much as 400% tariffs for years on dairy products. And of course, everybody's like, and at what point do you see the whole 400%? Whatever, it is 400%. And he says up to 400%. Can you believe that, Canada? Can you believe that, Canada? This dairy cartel thing has gone on too long, and it's gone to the point where, you know, last year, in January of 2024, last year, we had trade negotiations with Britain, our oldest trading partner, and guess what they did? They walked away from the table, just like Trump's doing here, walking away from the table and saying, you know what, I'm just not even going to deal with you. No, we're gonna suspend trade deals or trading arrangements, anything. We're gonna suspend it. Suspend any negotiations until you can put your big boy pants on and act like adults. 400% is after quota is met. The quota is tiny. It's less than 2% of the dairy industry, of dairy in Canada. It's less than 2%. And the quotas are only given out to, you guessed it, friends of the regime. Yeah, that's right. It's backdoor deals. It's people that get little backdoor deals and they get these things. And we know, and I've been investigating into this, those quotas, they get bought and sold. And it's basically, we're going to get into that. We'll get into that. Let's talk about this first. On dairy products, has just announced that they're putting a digital service tax on American technology companies, which is a direct and blatant attack on our country. They're obviously copying the European Union, which has done the same thing and is currently under discussion with us also. Based on this egregious tax, we are hereby terminating all discussions on trade with Canada, effective immediately. We will let Canada know the tariff that they will be paying to do business with the United States of America within the next 7-day period. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So it's not going to be a negotiation. It's going to be just, here's what the tariffs you're going to pay. That's it. You're just going to pay these tariffs. Enjoy. And Trump is no pushover. It's crazy. Like, stop thinking that he's just going to roll over. Just stop thinking that it's even irrational. Some people are saying that. I've seen it. It's not irrational. It's do as we say, because you've been bad actors for too long, and you know what? You're not going to get away with it anymore. You're not going to get away with it anymore. It doesn't matter what silly, stupid laws you pass. Gunther Eagleman writing, holy crap, Trump just cut off Canada from any trade negotiations. Have a fun recession. We hereby are terminating all discussions on trade with Canada effective immediately. Have a fun recession. It's exactly what's happening. It's exactly what's happening. Just the stupidest move. Absolutely stupid move. We dumbo enough milk. I'm not sure what you meant by dumbo, but we don't have enough milk in Canada. What we do have enough to feed every baby born. It's crazy. We're whitewashing milk. We are so doomed. Wow. Trump is draining the swamp in Canada. Well, there's no faster way to do it than cut off their entire finances. And that is what's going to happen. Trump putting pressure on Canada tariffs to accept statehood. He wants that. Wait, I missed. He wants... Oh, I missed it. Where did it go? He wants that for some crazy reason. Yeah. I know there's some Canadians that want it. Listen, Americans don't want Canada. They don't want Canada. They might want it as a territory, perhaps. I don't know. We'll see. They don't want Canadian voters. That's absolutely... this last election definitely proved that. Without a doubt. Unbelievable. Canada milkman forced to spill for 15-year trend. Yeah. They've been doing it quite a bit. They have been. Now let's get into this too, because like it's just absolutely crazy. Bill C-202, which just got rammed through Parliament and actually passed in the Senate in record time. Like everything works at the speed of government. Better than nothing. Thanks, Bobby Cat. Joe, thank you so much. Appreciate that. We don't want Canada. No, America does not want Canada, especially the voters. But here you go. Bill C-202. What is Bill C-202? That got rammed through Parliament unanimously, rammed through the Senate unanimously. An act to amend the Department of Foreign Affairs, Trade and Development Act, Supply Management, Dairy Cartel, the dairy industry. Eric Olette for $6.99 says, your haters sound like glowies. Yeah, they do. Wouldn't be the first time for RCMP and CSIS. Okay, a little side note before we get back to this story. Little side note. So this is interesting, and maybe people didn't know this, but there was a group in Canada. It was the largest white supremacy organization in Canadian history. I'm just gonna pop this out for just a second to say this. It's crazy how they were able to flourish and become what they became, but incidentally, they ended up getting taken down by a person named Eliza Hannigan, who then went on to fight against white supremacy and all this stuff for much of her adult life. She's still around. She's great. She's fantastic. I've spoken with her. But she was wrapped into it because she was incidentally the face of white supremacy in Canada, this young lady, and she broke free from it. Name Eliza Hannigan, and the name of the organization was the Heritage Front in Canada, and this was the organization. Now, their leaders ended up going to jail because of a wire that she wore, and it was a whole crazy story about what went on with that. Now, the origins of the organization are the seediest part. Would you believe me if I told you that CSIS was watching over some people that seemed to seem to be talking a lot about, racial stuff quite a bit, and getting together and meeting up. And they were worried. They said, hey, these guys might organize and become something terrible, right? And so what did CSIS do? They paid an informant to go in and keep an eye on these guys. Well, what did the informant incidentally do? Became the leader of the organization. I'm not kidding. This is a historical fact in Canada that CSIS paid a guy to go in, and he ended up becoming the leader of the largest white supremacy organization in Canadian history. So yeah, when you tell me that the people who are saying this stuff in my chat and coming after me on this thing sound like glowies, yeah, they sound like glowies. That's for real. And for what people who don't know what glowies are, it's an internet meme about federal agents undercover. They call them glowies. That's a term for them. So glowies are federal agents, feds. That's right. Now, incidentally, there's one organization, the Diagonal Crew, of which Ezra Levant, a guy who never minces words, and he knows about legalities and all that stuff, on the record said the leader of that group is a Fed. Now, I mean, like, that would be grounds for a defamation lawsuit if it was untrue. No defamation lawsuit ever came forward on that one. So just throwing that out there as well. So anyway, back to this story, because this is way more interesting than a bunch of idiots that LARP and I don't know what the goat thing is about. Maybe it's like a furry thing, but let's go back into this. 202, an act to amend the Department of Foreign Affairs, Trade and Development Act. Supply management. What is in the act? It is the shortest act I've ever read. It's the shortest one that I've ever read. Bill C-202. It's like, it's a page long. It's hardly a page long. There's more preamble on the page than there's bill. It really is crazy. Who is Carney going to sell us to, the EU or the US? Well, he's currently trying to sell us to the EU. He currently is. It's unreal. Like, hold on, have a look at this. Breaking. Carney confirms on CNN tonight that he's actively moving away from the US towards a closer partnership with the EU, hitching our wagon to a business partner 6,000 kilometers away.
Is pulling back. There are others of us who do believe in multilateralism. So, as you know, literally, I'm coming here.
Hey, multilateralism starts with multi, which would include the guys who we live on the border of. They don't live on our border. Believe me, you go to the United States, there are lots of places in the United States where there are Canadians living right at the border, and there are no Americans living anywhere nearby that. We are living on their border. Canada's greatest commodity above oil, above minerals, above wood, above water, is our proximity to the United States of America. It's our biggest resource. And we're throwing it away because we're idiots, right? Because that's what it is.
In the last 12 hours ago, I was in Brussels, agreeing at the Canada-EU summit, agreeing a very comprehensive partnership and a process to have an ever closer economic, defense, and security partnership between Canada and the EU. That is an example of two jurisdictions, in the case of the EU, that believe in multilateralism, believe in the rule of law, believe in fair and open trade, believe in defense cooperation.
Believe in the rule of law. We're talking about the same people that have been signing us on to these extrajudicial bodies from around the world to usurp our sovereignty and pass laws and force us to do things. Well, we believe in the rule of law and whatever. Get stuffed. This is just crazy.
So that's an example of leadership, if you will, that's positive. It's not it's a reaction if you will, to what's happening in the United States. But it's not a reaction against the United States. It's for something, not against.
But President Trump tends to be A, transactional, and B, very personal. And sometimes he thinks, or maybe you know differently. Apparently, they say that you're the Trump whisperer of the leaders,
I'm not
and
sure
that you're on texting, relations with him,
I'm not
and
sure
that
about
you know differently. Apparently, they say that you're the Trump whisperer of the leaders,
I'm not
and
sure
that you're on texting,
The Trump whisperer.
relations with
Yeah,
him.
he's whispering to Trump, I'll sell the Canadians out, no problem. That's the whispering he's doing. Hey, Trump, I know I'm talking a big game, but I'm willing to sell them all out. let's impoverish them together, and then you can gobble them up. You can just pay for it, no problem. That's the whispering he's doing.
I mean, you're constantly talking.
And there he is laughing about it. Wow.
So is he still saying he wants to annex Canada?
He's not. He's not. He admires Canada, I think it's fair to say, and maybe for a period of time coveted Canada, but...
Wow. Sorry to say. Anyway, let's get back to this. Bill C-202 that just passed in Parliament just last week. An act, or that's, June 5th is when it was brought in and it passed. All right. It's crazy. An act to amend the Department of Foreign Affairs Trade and Development Act, Supply Management, His Majesty, by and with the advice and consent of the Senate and House of Commons Canada, enacts as the follows. Unanimously, let's not beat around the bush. This was unanimous by our elected representatives, the ones that everyone elected, with those elbows up, except Western Canada, largely. If you didn't vote for them, I'm not blaming you, but it's crazy. It's crazy the decisions that Canadians have collectively made in recent time. Department of Foreign Affairs Trade and Development Act. Section 10 of the Department of Foreign Affairs Trade and Development Act is amended by adding the following after subsection 2. Supply management. In exercising and performing the powers, duties, and functions set out in subsection 2, the minister must not make any commitment on behalf of the government of Canada by international trade, treaty, or agreement that would have the effect of A, increasing the tariff rate quota within the meaning of subsection 2 of the customs tariff applicable to dairy products, poultry, or eggs, or by reducing the tariff applicable to those goods when they are imported in excess of the applicable tariff rate quota. What did they do? They solidified the supply management. They solidified the dairy lobby and put it into law that it's not even allowed. They're not even allowed to negotiate it. It's off the table. It's non-negotiable, as what's his nuts over in Quebec had to say.
No, I just want to say a few words on dairy. In Quebec, we are against changing the management of the offer. The reason why we have that is to protect our regions, all right? So we don't give any subsidies to milk producer. So the only thing we do is we manage the offer, and it's a way to protect small farms in all the regions. So
all the
for us,
regions.
it's not negotiable.
It's not negotiable. Not happening. You're not changing it. And guess what? We're going to codify that into law. And it's absolutely not negotiable. Thanks for your content, sir. You're welcome, sir. Absolutely appreciate that. The rest of Canada doesn't want your cry back. Doesn't want you cry back. Yeah, no. That the Conservatives are not that much better. Vote for the same. Okay, well, you read my mind, my friend. I was going to my next slide here. Here's Rupa Subramanya talking about Donald Trump today. Incidentally, Rupa is going to be on the show next Thursday, so make sure you tune in. We've got a special lineup this week coming, so I'm not back until Wednesday, so effectively I'm going to have a pretty bad upload schedule at the beginning of the week next week. But to make up for that, we're going to have some treat especial. It's going to be fun. Marty up north is not going to be with us on Wednesday, so the usual Marty and Clyde show, we're going to have a stand-in, and by popular demand, it's going to be Moose on the Loose. Moose on the Loose is going to be standing in for Marty, so David's going to be in, and it's going to be me and David, and we're going to be doing the Clyde and Marty show. It'll be the Clyde and Moose show, I guess, for this week coming. I know you guys are all excited about that. So many comments and so many people asking for that. But then the very next night, Rupa Subramanya is going to be coming on because we're going to be talking about the woke right. We're going to be talking about the woke right. And I'll even get into that a bit in tonight's stream more because there's more stuff to talk about it. But Rupa's coming on and we're going to be discussing the woke right. That's going to be the big thing. The woke right, of course, for those that are unfamiliar, are the people that claim to be on the right, but they're like, again, the white nationalists and all that stuff. They're identitarians by nature, just like the woke left. They only think in group dynamics and on a racial lens and all of this stuff. So it's going to be really interesting, that one. But let's get into this. So this is Rupa on Trump's announcement today. She says it's unfortunate and clearly Mark Carney messed up big time. For what it's worth, Pierre Poilievre planned on keeping the digital service tax and supply management, so unlikely that the outcome would have been different under a Pierre Poilievre government. Now, that is true. That is true, as well as he also didn't want to touch the transfer payments between the provinces, which is largely another big issue for the Western provinces, especially Alberta. So that's going to be a big issue coming up as these tariffs come in and ravage everybody. This is not going to be good. And at the end of the day, this is another nail in the coffin of Canada staying together as a whole country. This is very much a big step forward for separation and the liberation movement of Alberta. So that's definitely a big thing. Quebec is poor, let USA invest in it. No, this is the thing. So as soon as any province leaves Canada, they no longer have these laws like Bill C-202. They'll be able to negotiate on their own as an independent state. So yeah, just separating alone would remedy all of the trade barriers and problems immediately. I agree. Quebec even has, I don't even know how to pronounce that, worth trillions. Oh, believe me, Quebec would do just fine on their own, but they would actually have to get up, do work and pull stuff out of the ground. That's the stuff they're just sitting on. That's largely where it is. Now, she continues to say the Canadian political establishment, whether liberal or conservative, has invested in these self-harming policies that benefit highly entrenched groups at the expense of average Canadians. Canada continues to screw itself over, especially when it could have used the classic blame avoidance mechanism to pursue radical reforms that benefit all Canadians. Totally could have taken a way different approach to this and went with getting rid of these stupid establishments. Holy cow. Now, of course, Maxime Bernier, I saw him earlier today griping about it. He was ousted from the political party. He lost his career over his stance against supply management. So, of course, he was on that. But yeah, that was, yeah, he's got that one thing under his belt. Now, Donald Trump asked in the media, he's like, you know what, I don't even want to care. I don't care to talk about Canada. You know, don't ask me about Canada. We got better things to talk about. And this clip from Libs of TikTok really puts that one forward.
They're Not Canada. Why not? Why not Canada, by the way?
Why?
I mean,
Because this is about a different subject right now. This is right now actually a much more important subject. We just ended a war that was going on for 30 years where 6 million people died. So don't ask me a trade question on Canada.
We just ended a war that lasted for 30 years and killed 6 million people. Don't care about Canada. How about that? You know, we got bigger fish to fry. We want to talk about different things. You know, Canada kind of dug their hole, and it's like you make your bed, you got to lay in it, right? And that's really what's going to happen now with Canada. It's really a shame. It really is a shame. Absolutely, because at the end of the day, what's the situation here? I want to look at this because another country that messed with Trump this week. So he had made promises. He said, if you don't go along with this, you're going to have some serious economic issues. And it was a big problem when it came to military spending, people putting up their portion of the budget. And so he just went in full bore, and he's like, well, you know, Spain, they don't want to agree with us. They don't want to spend what we say that they're going to spend on this. Yeah, they're going to get it. And this is where he was on Spain.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Yeah.
A question on Spain. Are you satisfied with today?
Oh, I think Spain's terrible what they've done. No, I do. They're the only country that won't pay the full up. They want to stay at 2%.
I like how they laugh at the beginning, right? They laugh when he says it, but then it gets serious real fast.
With today?
Oh, I think Spain's terrible what they've done. No, I do. They're the only country that won't pay the full up. They want to stay at 2%. I think it's terrible. And, you know, they're doing very well. The economy is very well. And that economy could be blown right out of the water with something bad happening. You know, Spain is the only country that... Are you from Spain?
Yeah.
Good, congratulations.
You're a decent bald man, says Jackass Whiskey and Pinto Beans. Thanks, man, for the $5 super chat. We appreciate that.
You're the only country that is not paying. I don't know what the problem is. I think it's too bad. So we'll make it up. You know what we're going to do? We're negotiating with Spain on a trade deal. We're going to make them pay twice as much. And I'm actually serious about that. We're going to make Spain... I like Spain. I have so many people from Spain that it's a great place and they're great people. But Spain is the only country out of all of the countries that refuses to pay. And, you know, so they want a little bit of a free ride. But they'll have to pay it back to us on trade because I'm not going to let that happen. It's unfair. It's unfair to NATO. All right, sir, please. Go ahead, right in the back. Yeah, you, tall one. The tall.
What's this? This happened in America, too. Look at the kidnapping plot for Governor Whitmer. 70% of the group were feds, including the ones who pushed the idea. Yeah, that's absolutely right. I think you're a little behind on the stream. But, yeah, that was when I was talking about how crazy it is that CSIS was responsible for the formation of the largest white supremacy organization in Canada's history. Insane for anyone who wasn't in the room when that part of the conversation was taking place. But yeah, absolutely. Feds have a way of getting in there and doing this stuff. But back to this story. So Trump is, I gotta say it, savage. It's just, that's savage. It's like, here's the deal. This is what I want you to spend it. You don't want to spend it? Oh, okay. Well, we'll get it from you. We'll get it from you somehow. If we're going to end up being the ones protecting you, we're just going to get that. We're going to get that money. And, you know, we'll still protect the trade routes. We'll still do all that stuff. Because here's the deal. Oh, I forget what the guy's name was. Something Zen or some. He wrote a book, End of America. I read it. It was terrible, but he did make one good point, and I think he missed on a lot. But the one big main point he made is that if America falls, it's a really bad thing for one huge reason. America and America's military protect all of the trade routes around the world. This is a burden that America has taken on, and all of these other countries, they pay nothing to it, and they've been taking advantage absolutely. So when he says like these companies are taking advantage, or the countries are taking advantage of our protection, and it costs on the to the tune of this and that, he's not kidding. The amount of money that America spends militarily around the world to protect trade routes for the benefit of every single body on the planet. If that broke down, if the American economy were to fall, and then they can no longer pay to protect these trade routes, what do you think's going to happen? There are certain international water areas around Somalia that are completely littered with pirates all over the place, and it's crazy. And it's one of those areas that the United States doesn't take care of, but they take care of places all over the map, and everyone benefits from it. And this is the thing: America protects all trade. It's true. It's absolutely true. Pirates are like real ones. Like, look at me, I'm the captain now. Pirates. Yeah, absolutely. We can't stop the natives from fishing even. Like we couldn't take on the US. We can't even do that. The Red Sea is nasty too. It's crazy. It's really, really crazy. Yo ho ho and a bottle of rum. Yeah, that's right. 5%. No wonder. With the cost of military hardware and funding the soft people wear. I'm not sure what that means. America are the police of the world. Well, they're the police of the world trade routes. That's absolutely correct. They really do. They really do benefit everybody. And everybody takes it for granted. Like, I can't stress that enough. And they just act like, oh, it's just become an entitlement for so many people. It's just crazy. So many countries. America's the world's bodyguard. It is. Jackass Whiskey and Pinto Beans with another 5 says it was because of the Cold War. Well, that's where it started. Well, yeah, possibly. But here we are now, and all these other countries are, affluent, doing well, and they're not paying into it, and they're not paying a fair share. And I love it or hate it, I agree with this. They're not paying their fair share. Spain, you got you could have all kinds of problems if you didn't have the military protection. Perhaps pay into it. Canada's cooked. Be careful, Clyde. I'll be careful. Yeah. I'm always a stone's throw from an embassy. Just in case. Jesus is still king. They can't even stop immigrants from netting our spawning salmon. That's absolutely true. There's migrants coming in and just breaking all the social norms, breaking everything. So how are they gonna protect or help out in the protection of the United States, what the U.S. is doing? But at least they could pay up a little bit of payola for all the protection. Clyde, you're so lucky to be able to move to the USA. I am lucky, but yeah, it's been a waiting list because my wife's green card has not yet come, and we are waiting so long. It's unreal, and the cost is really growing. My son lives in Spain. They blew up their nuclear power plants. I've heard so many things about Spain, and they went down that socialism route, and it's only a matter of time before their economy implodes. Because what has it done? It's bred a whole workforce of people who don't want to work really. They're happy to show up for only a portion of the day and get nothing done, and then brag about all the time off they get nothing done, and then expect full pay. You can't have an entire economy based around that. It just doesn't work. So yeah, it's only a matter of time before the the whole scam falls apart. That's it. Clyde, you need to get in touch with them and ask them to speed up, or they might forget about your wife. No, I'm keeping tabs on it. So it's a thing. We're definitely, yes, his wife is from there. From what? My wife is from Japan. Are you saying about somebody else? Just kidding. Or am I? Lol. They do illegal police stations in Canada, then get awarded with contracts for shipbuilding. Smart Canada. Yeah, that's right. So those illegal police stations, they're actually, so Chinese people, it's a really interesting thing. So the Chinese government views Chinese people as their property because they're communists, and that's what communists do. They don't have any semblance of property rights as a philosophy. They don't believe you have property rights, and property rights in the philosophical sense start with you. You are the owner of your body, and then everything comes from there. Everything is manifest from that original idea that you are the owner of your body. Socialists don't believe in that. They don't believe in property rights. And when it gets down to the main crux of it, you are owned by the state. You are a product of the state. You are owned by the state. And this is an interesting thing, that despite people leaving China, they still feel that the state owns those people. And so they have set up police stations around the world to police Chinese ethnic people. That's their belief. And this is where we in the West need to really put our foot down on that. And it really needs to be something huge, because here's the thing. We have a different philosophy. We believe that you own yourself. And that's the first and foremost thing that leads to property rights. And if somebody comes and emigrates to Canada, to America, to the West, and leaves behind China, they're no longer Chinese. They no longer have ties. They no longer have connections to China. That's it. You have now, you don't, the Chinese government does not own these people. And this is crazy, because like so many people in Canada that came from China, a lot of people came from Hong Kong, which was a free place. It was owned by the British for that time. And then, whoa, when the Chinese moved in, bam, yeah, things got serious fast, and a lot of people got out for good reasons, which is a similar reason why people are getting out of Canada. Very similar. But it is a fundamentally different philosophy on property rights. And it begins with your self-ownership. It absolutely, that's where it begins. Jackass Whiskey and Pinto Beans for 2 says, my sister did Christian outreach in China. I'm surprised they allowed that. That's crazy. I thought they banned that. I thought that wasn't allowed. You got some of Trump's special sauce on your lip there, bud. That's funny. Like what? What's because I like what he's doing? Like, what do you have Carney's special sauce on your lip? Like what kind of rhetoric is that? Is that how you communicate with people? So here's the thing. If it's like a this or that, then it's like, yeah, okay, elbows up, pal. Enjoy the recession. No. Donald Trump is doing what's good for the American economy. Canada could be on board with this stuff. Canada could absolutely be on board with it, but they want to play this game. They want to pretend like we're separate from America, and the thing that makes us distinct in a North American community is that we're not American. It's the most asinine thing I've ever heard of in my life. It was invented by a socialist idiot that had a kid who became our socialist idiot prime minister after he was prime minister. This is Absolutely insane that this is the mentality of Canadians when they're met with Americans asserting themselves and saying, you know what, I'm not keen on your crappy little deals that you've made for yourself to carve out your own little thing instead of modernizing your economy and getting on with the world, with the rest of the world. You don't want to play nice with us? Well, we'll just give you some of the treatment that you've been giving us. Because here's the deal. We're going through economic turmoil right now, and we want to bring all of our manufacturing base back to the United States so that we can do the things that the world needs for us to bring back this great Western society. This is the reality of the situation. And Canadians are going, but we have the steel mills. It's like, no. The steel mills only became Canadian steel mills. The only reason why the automotive manufacturing or any manufacturing came and went into parts of Canada because it was overflow, because America was so busy that they couldn't employ enough people. I'm not even kidding you. The labor unions want to give credit to themselves for the 8-hour workday and decent wages. No, it was the fact that there was not enough workers available. And still people weren't able to even immigrate enough to America to fill the roles that America was putting together in an entrepreneurial way, not some top-down government official way. It was the American ingenuity, the people who brought this forward and started building things and just went nuts with it. They went absolutely nuts with it. And it was absolutely one of these things where, holy crap, we don't even have enough people. So guys like Henry Ford came up with a great idea. Hey, how about I pay my people more after I've trained them to do the job so that Pontiac doesn't pick them up, so that Mercury doesn't pick them up. So, and before you say that Mercury and Ford are the same company, they weren't at the time. So that, all these other automotive manufacturers don't pick up these workers and pay them more. They were betting for workers. This is the reality of the situation. And guess what happened? They needed so much labor that they ended up pushing into Canada, saying, hey, please, can you take up some of these jobs? And as America is receding because of this, Canada's going, no, you can't do it. We're going to put blah, blah. Listen, buck up and make industry then. I'm sorry to be so harsh, but this is just so ridiculous that Canada has had this stance like, well, we'll have our own dairy industry instead of just like having a good trading relationship with a country that knows that they can do this well. And okay, well, you do that well, I'll do this well, and then we'll work together and do this stuff all in a great way. Yeah, no, they just won't. They refuse to do it, and it's just astronomical to me. It's astronomical. It's like it's mind-boggling. This whole thing. And then people, oh, is that Trump's special sauce on your lip? That's okay. Okay. Throw that one out there. Cause that's the mentality of the Canadian negotiation tactic. Let's insult the guy that's got all the cards. Crazy. Hey, LCBO is asking for $2 donations for Pride this month. Well, you know what the LCBO also doesn't have, other than donations for Pride? They don't have American alcohol. Well, maybe they do now. I BC liquor stores still don't. It's absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. Special sauce, yeah. Makes sense. Now Canada wants its own social platforms, etc. Ugh. Yeah. Want our own social platforms. Like China has, right? Like China's got. We don't want that American social platforms. We want a special one that's paid for by tax dollars and only has a small percentage of Canadians using it. Do that one. This Dak is sipping the salty Carnier sauce. I don't think most people in this country even remember when we had a healthy economy. Most people don't even realize Southern Ontario was referred to as the industrial heartland. Yes, absolutely. It's unbelievable. But I don't blame Americans for saying, hold on a second. We once had the greatest steel industry in the world. And those workers were put out of business because of over-regulation within America. And we needed so much steel at one point that Canadians started making it. And now the Democrats put those steel workers out of work, and we're buying it from Canada, and they're taxing us on, they got taxes on our products going into their country. Get out of town. We're not doing that anymore. Let's bring that industry back. Let's get our steel workers working on steel again. I don't blame them. And you can be sore about it. That's fine. Be sore about it. But geez, you can't blame a country for wanting to do that. Just as much as you can't blame Canada for wanting to take measures of their own. But are those measures going to win against what's going on? Likely not. And I was joking about it quite a bit. Like Algoma Steel in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, for example. Losing tons and tons of workers. You know that if it just became Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, another part of Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, with a bridge in the middle, and expanded the U.S. territory into that section, those people would have no troubles anymore. Did you? Yeah. It would be, seriously, that would be the situation. Now, for me, that was a joke because Americans don't want Canadians in their voting demographic. It's just, that's just a truth. Especially the industrial heartland, Ontario, that just voted Carney in. The American demographic is like, no, no thanks. Noel, for $5 says, Canada lost their culture and gained a new one. The new culture is just to hate America and remind everyone that they're not American. That's right. That is right. Incredible. Incredible. But let's keep moving on with this story. So yeah, this was the news that broke. Mark Nixon putting this on X, saying, breaking, President Trump just announced an immediate end to all trade talks with Canada. Mark Carney pivot to the EU has officially backfired. Totally backfired.
Okay, folks.
Or become completely necessary and still expect recession.
We've got some breaking news to tell you about right now, and forgive me for looking down. I'm just looking at my monitor. This is coming from the U.S. President, Donald Trump. Here's what I'm getting on the wires. We are hereby terminating all discussions on trade with Canada effective immediately. Wow. He has posted this on his Truth Social form. We've got it there. We've got the full document there. He is saying we will let Canada know tariff they will be paying to do business with the U.S. within next 7-day period. So the crux of this is that the president is accusing Canada of being a very difficult country to trade with, including charging American farmers as much as 400% tariffs for years on dairy products, and has announced putting digital services tax on our American technology companies, which, according to the president, is a direct and blatant attack on our country. He says they're obviously copying the European Union, which has done the same thing and is currently under discussion with us also. Based on this egregious tax, says the president, we are hereby terminating all discussions on trade with Canada effective immediately. And again, he'll let us know about how he wants to move forward with trade in the next 7-day period. This is coming huge breaking news from the U.S. directly from the president, just at a moment where the House of Commons is not sitting down anymore, and Prime Minister Carney was suggesting to the Canadian public that things are normalizing and getting on the right track in terms of trade with the United States.
Oh, they're not
this
normalizing.
Is going to be a huge story for us today.
Oh, they're not
Stay tuned
normalizing.
to CBC News Network. We're going to bring you all the information and analysis we can. We'll be back in just
Holy cow, they are not normalizing whatsoever. That's unreal. Theorica with a $13.99 super chat says, new Canadian social platform, uniquely Canadian only feature, all comments disabled. That's it. Oh man, we see way too much of that in Canada now, the comments being disabled all over the place. It's unreal. I appreciate that. That's hilarious. I love it. I love it. Where were we? It's astonishing to me. Wow. I'm absolutely blown away. Awesome job, folks. This is it's been great. So here's a great one here. So I put this up on X saying Canada once again shooting itself in the foot. Bigly. Indeed, shooting itself in the foot with this announcement. And of course, you know, you get the usual people defending the dairy lobby. You want USA growth hormones in dairy? Is that what you want? Is that what you would like to have in your dairy products? Now, I didn't put so much time and effort into interviewing experts to let this stuff fly in my replies. So yeah, this is Dr. Sylvain Charlebois, the food professor, famous in Canada for knowing how the food industry works. I had him on the show and I asked him about the growth hormones thing, and this is what he said.
Generally speaking, the quality of dairy products in the U.S. is very good, and they often use that argument of BST, and BST is that growth hormone that is used. It's allowed in the U.S. and it's disallowed in Canada, so it's all true, but barely 2% of farmers in the U.S. will use growth hormones, and it's not for the human chain at all. And so if you go to the grocery store in the U.S., you will not find dairy milk coming from cows that were fed growth hormones. So it's a false argument. They're often using the argument and saying, well, Canadian milk is superior. Well, do you have any evidence of that? There is no evidence of that.
There's no evidence of that at all. It's not superior whatsoever. But here's the thing. Yes, there is the allowance of this growth hormone but it's used in, as Dr. Sylvain Charlebois said here, in only 2% of any dairy industry, and it's never used in any human chain. So it's no food products, no I don't know, skin products or any of that stuff that would be consumed by humans. It doesn't end up in that. It doesn't end up in that at all. And this is the other brilliant one is, well, we'll get on to the comments on this one. So this guy says, shouldn't it be everyone's choice to decide which type of milk they want to buy? Yeah, that should be, but it's not allowed because of this mafia, this dairy lobby. To which the person replies, if it meets our standards, also the tariffs is after the import quota. So the import quota, of course, being the quota. So if the standards were the issue, they wouldn't have a quota system, I replied, where they handpicked brokers that could buy U.S. dairy with no tariffs and then put it in your food without your knowledge. It's a racket. And of course, bingo, that's the reply to that. See, this is the thing. So the thing that people don't understand. So if the argument is that we don't have American dairy products because they don't fit the standards, they absolutely don't fit these tight standards that we have in Canada, then the milk that did come in, they would have to fit those tight standards, but it doesn't. It's just U.S. dairy. It's just regular old U.S. dairy that comes in on a quota system, which is a supply managed quota system that was negotiated in the USMCA. Trump was able to get a little bit of inroads with that. The first time around, he was pussyfooting around negotiating with Canada. This time's a totally different story, totally different go around. But guess what? Those quotas, they exist where U.S. dairy is allowed to come in with no tariff. So it's cheaper products. But who gets it? a handful of cronies that are close to the politicians that are working and the bureaucrats that are working this dairy lobby. This is where that's coming from. It's outrageous, I know, and people don't know about it, I know, and when they try to argue it, I know, they met with BS argumentation like this that is totally... It's obnoxious. It's obnoxious because not only is it not true, but it's misinforming you. It's misguiding you to come to another conclusion that's completely off base. Completely off base. No, they don't use growth hormone in milk and dairy products that are for human consumption in the United States. And even if they did, and that was like a big thing that we couldn't have, and they can't pass our standards, well then why do they have a quota system? And 2% of the dairy that enters the Canadian market is on this quota system that enriches cronies in Ottawa with lots and lots of money to sell that milk again to suppliers and producers to make food products for Canadians. This is the situation at hand. And it's all a racket. It's a lot of people getting rich. It's a lot of people losing out on their grocery bill because milk is too damn expensive. And they totally, just to keep the prices high, if they overproduce, they dump the damn shit. Sorry, I'm getting excited. They dump the milk in farmers' fields. They absolutely dump it in farmers' fields, and that's where it ends up, and you don't get any of it. It's unreal. And a study came out this year that it was like something like 2 billion liters of dairy milk was put out into farmers' fields over the past, I can't remember how many years. Unreal. Frank Vaughan says the quota has nothing to do with hormones. That's the CFIA's job to keep them out. Quota has not supply safety. No, it has nothing to do with supply safety. It has everything to do with making a few people really rich off of milk that's not even produced in Canada, which is crazy. And it ends up on your plate, in your glass, whatever you want to, however you use milk, on your face. I don't know. Some people do weird stuff with milk. I don't know. Whoever the guy in the comment, the special sauce on your lip, whatever. That's where the American milk ends up. Ugh. The two get equated, and it tweaks me. Yeah, absolutely. It's amazing. It's amazing. But these are argumentation for a racket. It's for a racket. That's what all of this is about. Now, I was going to get into some more of the trade stuff. So breaking, President Trump just announced, this is from June 27th. Based on the egregious tax, we are hereby terminating all discussions on trade with Canada, effective immediately, and popped this clip in of Trump talking about trading with Canada.
In the face of unrelenting economic warfare, the United States can no longer continue with a policy of unilateral economic surrender. We cannot pay the deficits of Canada, Mexico, and so many other countries. We used to do it. We can't do it anymore. We take care of countries all over the world. We pay for their military. We pay for everything they have to pay. And then when you want to cut back a little bit, they get upset that you're not taking care of them any longer. But we have to take care of our people. And
it's totally fair to say that. We pay for your safety. We absolutely pay for your safety. And what do you give us back? You give us back this load of crap.
We're going to take care of our people first, and I'm sorry to say that. And today we're standing up for the American worker, and we are finally putting America first. In the face of unrelenting economic warfare.
Finally putting America first. What's this guy going to do about it? Well, he's gonna shit the bed, folks. That's what he's going to do, and that's what he's done. And that's where we're at. That's where we're at, folks, on this. We've got a really crap situation. Here's a great video on this. Canada's problem isn't Trump, it's Canada. Absolutely.
How do you feel in this moment when you see literally our sovereignty being attacked in a way that I've never seen in my lifetime?
Well,
Our sovereignty is being attacked by Donald Trump. No, it's not. How about we find out what's attacking our sovereignty?
Seen it being attacked. I mean, when you're going to keep giving tens of billions to foreign battery companies, when you're going to allow private companies to privatize government in our largest city.
So you see Trump now and his aggression as just a manifestation, a more explicit manifestation of our relationship with America as it's degraded.
No, Canada's problem is not Trump. Canada's problem is Canada.
Pogo,
I've seen the enemy, and the enemy is us. And we would be a wonderfully prosperous, proper costed, very good income, very safe country if we just take the boot off our own neck.
How do you feel in this?
Oh, that's so brutal, but true. It's unreal how much that actually resonates and is legit. It's realistic. It's crazy. Sorry, I'm looking something up here because I thought I had something queued up, but I didn't have it, and I'd love to show you guys, but I'm afraid I might not have it at my fingertips. I don't, unfortunately, but it's yeah, it had to do with the Golden Dome and the fact that the US has been just protecting us for so long, and with the Golden Dome, it's just going to be protection. It's going to be protection, and absolutely we're getting a free ride. It's crazy. Jackass Whiskey and Pinto Beans for $20. My man, getting very generous tonight. Thank you so much. Says the problem is not Canadian steel that is mined, smelted, and refined in Canada. The problem is China dumping steel in Canada and Mexico, and those countries labeling it steel made in Canada. Is that actually happening? Is that actually happening? I didn't know that. I know China does some sneaky stuff where if you watch Smarter Every Day, he did a video talking about trying to make a barbecue scraper that would be a better barbecue scraper and doing it all American. And this was his video on it. And there was a point in the video where they were trying to source products from, if they couldn't get it in America, they were like, well, at least temporarily, could we try to get it another product from a different place other than China? And they found this one product from India, and they're like, okay, well, we'll get the Indian one. And it shows up, and on the pallet, it was all in Chinese. They just shipped it to India and then shipped it to America. That's all they did. They just needed to get that sale. So yeah, I could see that happening. It's definitely a thing. Wyatt Claypool, welcome to the chat, my man. For $2 says, see you at that Jewish conspiracy, Clyde. Oh, I love it. I love it. That's how the whole thing got rolling out, eh? It was a bunch of people who were like, oh, you've sold out to the Jews, Clyde. It's like, sold out to the Jews? What are you talking about? If there are Jewish people in Canada that have a concern and they want to bring it to the forefront, and it's legitimately something I've been talking about, and they invite me to an event, yeah, I'm going to go to their event. What the hell? I have nothing against Jewish people whatsoever. So for all those people that do, like, what the f is wrong with you? Like, I just don't know. What the hell? Really? What? I don't get it. I really don't get it. But yeah, that's where a lot of this woke right stuff came from over the past 24 hours. It's just like, what? Really? Do people actually think this stuff legitimately? We're all Mossad, right? Dude. And it's funny because it's an Indian event as well, and it's like the Indo-Canadian community, which I have connections with friends that are members of the Indo-Canadian community. Why would it be strange that I would get invited to an event put on by the Indo-Canadian community? Like, where does that stuff come from? Like, you're bought and sold by the Indians and the Jews. Like, what? That how? How did people come to these conclusions? And how, like, go touch grass, folks. Like, if you find yourself at a point where you've been in front of a screen for so long that you're like, all my problems in life are the Jews, like, you need to go outside, touch grass, do something, get on a bike, ride around, look at the blue sky, stay away from a screen for like 24 hours at least. I don't know, that's my recommendation. Honestly, what is wrong with people? Wow. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna get into the woke right. That's gonna be a topic of discussion at some point here. But of course, don't forget to tune in on Thursday next week when I have Rupa Subramanya on, and we're gonna be specifically talking about the woke right and what it is that they do. It is to something. Tell that to Islam, Clyde. Well, no Islam group has invited me out to one of their events. I'd go to it if I was invited to one. They probably don't want to hear me speak because I probably wouldn't have like a ton of great things to say. I would be probably pretty scathing, you know, along the lines of like, hey, you should probably stand up more against the extreme factions of your community. Like is the event that's going on. They're standing up against extreme factions of the Indo-Canadian community. Oh my goodness, it's like, what the heck? You get what you want, and then you don't like that you're getting what you want, and then I have no idea the rationale that goes behind the thoughts in some people's brains, and that's why I jumped to the conclusion that people that far gone must be like inbred or something. I don't know. Give me a better explanation for it, please. What is woke right? Sounds like a dumb tag. It was something that James Lindsay first coined, and it was the idea that there are people on the right side of the aisle that are woke. And I don't technically see them as people on the right side of the aisle because they're authoritarian in nature. I'm talking about people that go, you know, full R word and not retard. They go full racist, and they think that, you know, other ethnicities are the other source of all of their problems and whatever has happened in their lives, and they become identitarians, just like the social justice warriors of the left. And they just go completely bonkers off the woke train. Yeah, it's the woke train, and that's it. So yeah, it was coined as the woke right. They really hate being called the woke right, and they mock James Lindsay quite a bit for it. And I think that's why it's funnier. It's funnier to actually just call them the woke right because they take such great offense to it. So keep crying about it, authoritarians, because that's at the end of the day. I'm libertarian leaning, and if somebody's authoritarian leaning, I'm completely at odds with them politically. Absolutely, completely at odds with them. So racism is in the realm of authoritarianism, because you're talking about people that want to make rules and laws that are arbitrary based on who's James Lindsay. He's an academic. He's been on Joe Rogan quite a bit. He's famous for going after the woke and the left and socialists and Marxists. But yeah, so you know, the ideas that people have with racism, and then they take that to like actually implementing that into codifying it into law. It's legitimately like discrimination against people with on the grounds of, you know, things you can't change, immutable characteristics about a person. We all disagree with that. It's arbitrary. It's unjust, and it goes against all the ideas of liberty. So I absolutely fundamentally oppose them in every stance, in every situation. So yeah, it really comes down to that. I'm liberty leaning, they're authoritarian leaning. If you come up with ideas like we should deport people who are of a different ethnicity, well, what about the people who who's been in the country for generations. Yeah, them too. You're an authoritarian. You're crazy. You're insane. Talking about deporting people to a country that they've never visited, they don't speak the language of, they've never been to, they don't know the culture of, they're completely wrapped in Canadian culture. Like, get the heck out of here. What does a Canadian look like, Clyde? Looks like a lot of different things. What is the race of, is Canadian a race? No, it's not. It's absolutely not. Anyone after 1998 should leave. Well, then make that your life goal. Go out on the streets and tell people that. You can get the hell off my platform to say that shit. You know what I mean? Just go do it. Go do it. Look and sound like an idiot. It's your right. It's your right to go do that. Absolutely. But it's my right to say that that's idiotic. It's absolutely idiotic. You're wrong. You're wrong in the head. You're out to lunch. Absolutely. Sorry, I'm seeing the law, Clyde. I just don't. Can't do it. Can't do it. It's an interesting one for me. Winiska for a $10 super chat says, "I guess we can kiss the Golden Dome goodbye." So here's the problem with that is the Golden Dome is absolutely going forward. I'm losing it because I don't want to become a racist. Get the heck out of here. That's crazy. And if you think that way, like seriously, 1998, my wife came to Canada way after 1998. You want her deported? Get the hell out. Get out of my chat. Like, get the hell out of my chat. Go live a fantastic life with your friends that believe the stupid shit that you talk about. Yeah, go for it. Enjoy it. But this is me doing my part. It's called social ostracism. I will socially ostracize people that have absolutely terrible ideas and want to implement them. Yes, I feel it as my obligation. But you have every right to say it. You have every right to say it. But I mean, by all means. By all means. VI PT Cruiser for $2 says Canada doesn't need Golden Dome, not aggressive. No, but here's the thing. So Canada does need the Golden Dome. Canada needs to do a lot of things that I think are big time mistakes to ignore as concerns of the United States of America. Unfettered immigration is a big national security issue, and this is why I'm going to that conference, because we're going to be talking about this. It is a big old issue that we seriously have to deal with. We absolutely seriously have to deal with this. And again, this will be tomorrow, not tomorrow, Sunday. I'll be in Toronto tomorrow, but this will be Sunday. We got the United Against Extremism conference, because our unfettered immigration has caused such a situation in Canada that we're not screening the people that come in here, right? And we have this giant porous border with the United States, and that's a big problem. That is a big problem. Is a big problem when we're allowing all these people come in. So yeah, the Golden Dome is very important. But what about people that are actually coming in within the borders? And Canada is not doing its part in making sure that the people that are coming in are not criminals or have actually worse intentions. The amount of people that have come into Canada that are on no-fly lists in the United States and are admitted into Canada and then are discovered trying to enter the United States is just off the chains. It's absolutely off the chains. The numbers are irresponsible. They're absolutely irresponsible. Winiska for 5 says, where will we be able to watch the conference? Well, if you're there live, you can watch it there. But afterwards, I guess there's going to be people filming it, and they're going to release I don't know how long it's going to take for them in the editing process and all of that stuff. But when that happens, I'll let you guys know, and I'll let you know exactly where you can go and check that out. But yeah, this is definitely a big concern for the United States. This is an international concern, right? And this is why you have international agencies and international organizations getting themselves involved in this stuff, because it needs to be discussed. It really needs to be discussed. Obviously, Indians, people in Canada, in the Indo-Canadian community, and Indians of Indian origin that are worried about trade and commerce and all this stuff with Canada, they're obviously concerned about the whole Khalistani thing that's happening in Canada, because you may not know this, but the Khalistani movement is banned in India. It's a terrorist organization. It's classified as a terrorist organization in India. I believe it is in the United States as well. I don't know. I'd have to double check that one. But they're running roughshod in Canada. It's crazy. And they're recruiting young people in interesting ways. So here's one of the interesting ways. People come over on a work visa, can't extend. They get a temporary visa, and then they're like, "Oh, I want to stay in Canada." But sorry, it said temporary. You got to go. And then they get involved with the Khalistani movement. The Khalistanis say to them, "Hey, we're a terrorist organization in India. We can't go back to India, so we can claim refugee status in Canada if you're known to be with us." This is a thing that they're actually tricking our immigration system into allowing people in, and then from there they're radicalizing. It's crazy that this stuff is taking place. Is Jagmeet a terrorist? Well, he's known to sympathize and be at meetings with these individuals. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Totally. But whew, that is a story. What else is coming out of Canada? This story, this one, it makes me laugh. There's been an attempt to make Canadians afraid to go into the United States. Be afraid. You're going to get terrible treatment if you go into the United States. It's been a propaganda tactic for some time now. And people really, some people are biting on it, and some people are just going, what? No, like what? You can't be serious. Well, they're going at this in a new approach. Instead of just telling people at the borders that they've been having a hard time. Now you'll get picked up by ICE if you go into America, and you might die in their custody. Jackass Whiskey and Pinto Beans for $10 says, in a perfect world, the U.S. would take the best of the immigrants around the world. Canada would then take the second best and the second best around the world. Sure. I don't even think the second best want to come to Canada. Believe me, they don't wanna. And this is kind of where my theory gets into this story here. A Canadian man who died in ICE custody. So that's the ICE is the security agency that's been getting everybody for being illegal immigrants, and they're just going after criminals really that have lapsed with their immigration or overstaying or illegally entered, that kind of thing. Yeah, there's a lot of commie trolls because I poked the bear this week. I went after the woke right. It's weird because like people that say racist things, they're like, "How dare you call us racist?" Like, what? Dude, you said anyone who who isn't white should be deported from Canada as of 1998. Like, what? Who's paying you to go, Clyde? I'm not getting paid anything. I want to go. I want to go. I was invited. I think it's flattering to be invited by by organizations that have similar interests. It's what? Who invited me to go to We Unify, or who paid me? I went. I just went. That's the craziest thing. Crazy. Canadian who died in ICE custody lived a simple life, his lawyer says. He's just a simple man. He's just a simple man doing simple things. This guy from ICE. What? Oh, this guy, Johnny Noveo. Is that how you pronounce that? Noveo. 49 was being detained pending removal proceedings, according to ICE, their news release. The Canadian man who died while in custody of U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement earlier this week was a very polite and assuming man with a very simple life who did not pose a danger to anyone, says the lawyer who represented him. Dan Lysing represented Johnny Noveo, a 49 who was 49, who died in a detention center in Florida on Monday. The cause of death is unknown and is under investigation. And we could get into the speculation of that one. In 2020, okay. So we're not going to mention it in the title. We're not going to mention it in the sub byline. We're not going to mention it in the description, in the image. We're not going to just mention this at all until you get deep into the article. Oh, in 2023, Noveo was convicted of a number of offenses, including racketeering and drug trafficking, and had been sentenced to 12 months in prison, according to the ICE release. Well, guess what? If you are in the United States, even if you have a legal permit to be there, you have a green card, something like that, racketeering and drug trafficking will get you thrown out. It's in the stipulations when you sign that paperwork that you're not going to commit crimes. That's it. Why so trolls in chat tonight? Get a life. Yeah, get a life, trolls. Oh, they this is what they live for. Like I said, some people just need to touch grass. And had been he'd been sentenced for 12 months. Now, other people covering this story, including CTV News. Here's what we know about the Canadian guy who died in ICE custody. Johnny Noveo's former lawyer describes the 49-year-old who died while in custody in U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, on Monday as quiet, polite, and respectful. Just always appreciative, respectful, excellent with communication, not the type of guy who would see wrapped up in this mess as Johnny did, said Dan Lysing, a defense lawyer who represented Noveo. Johnny was very quiet, polite, unassuming guy. He's not the kind of guy you'd expect to be wrapped up in all this, except for the racketeering and drug trafficking charges. Okay. Lysing said that his only known family member is his father, Angelo, who was distraught to hear about his son's death. Oh, of course. You know what? You would be. It's not good. Yeah, it was really sad. According to ICE, Noveo was found unresponsive on June 23rd, just before 1 p.m. at a federal detention center in Miami. The government agency said medical staff tried to resuscitate him and use a defibrillator, but was pronounced dead at the scene of the crime at Miami Fire Rescue Department. This is the first time I had ever seen ever had a client die in any sort of custody. This is crazy. Oh, Ottawa, urgently seeking more information about the death of Canadian citizen in ICE custody. So they're going to blow this up. Like, of course they do. They want to blow it all up. Let's blow this up so that it can be another one of those, be afraid of entering the United States. But here's the thing. This guy had lived in the United States since 1988. With illegal visa status and became a permanent resident, green card holder. 3 years later, was taken into ICE custody on May 15th. He's been in America since 1988. This guy could have gotten his citizenship. Absolutely could have gotten his citizenship. Did not do it. Why? Don't know. Probably after he committed a crime. He didn't. After being convicted in 2023 for a crime, he was not able to get his citizenship. that would be a thing because your green card would get revoked. That would be why. So what is Trump promised to do? Get people who are illegal immigrants who have committed crimes, and get them out of the country. I wonder if that Canadian has been filing taxes with the CRA since 1988. He wouldn't. No, because there's no global tax in Canada. And likely that's why he didn't want to get his American citizenship. He wanted to have his cake and eat it too. So could have been working under the table as well. I don't know. It's speculation. But if you get your citizenship and then you decide, well, I don't want to live in America anymore, I want to move back to Canada, you then have to pay taxes still, or you still have to file your taxes. That's absolutely the case. Karen Whitelock for $7 says, Carney will not let me send $606.66 for Carney's crap. That's funny. I like that. That's hilarious. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Now, I was talking about this with somebody else, and they made some speculation on it, saying that, well, if he's into the drug trade, maybe somebody did him in custody. Now, that's a possibility. That's absolutely a possibility. The thing is, we're not getting any details. They're only stating what needs to be stated, and that's they found him unconscious and unresponsive, and they were not able to resuscitate him. They didn't mention any injuries, didn't mention any of that stuff. That's not in the story. But I'm looking at it this way. Noveo, who sounds like because he was just a quiet guy, lived a simple life. Probably single. Didn't have anybody. Had his life set up. He's 49. He's 50 years old, basically. He screwed up, got caught for trafficking drugs, and never went forward with his immigration to become a citizen in the United States. His visa revoked because of that. Goes into ICE custody. Doesn't like the prospect of going back to, economic burden Canada from his probably cushy position in Miami. Doesn't want to go back to Canada and does the early checkout. That's my assumption. That's my assumption. Of course, ICE can't say that because these are details they cannot give out, but that's kind of my 2 cents on that story. I don't think it goes much deeper than that, to be honest. But of course, media is going to ham it up, and we'll see it because the story broke today. So we're going to see this get hammed up in the media all next week. Probably more of this. Don't go to the United States. You'll end up dead in ICE custody. Wait for those comments to come out because they're probably going to come out. That's likely a thing. G-Meister, member for 36 months. Can you believe that? 36 months? It has gone by. That's amazing to me, actually. Leaving a comment saying, is Alberta ready to leave Canada yet? Could use a few more taps of the like button, folks. Yeah, get that like button. Hit that. Where are we at? We haven't even hit parity. Let's get to parity here, folks, at least. That would be nice. It helps out a ton. This is the reality of the situation. When you hit that like button, it actually tells the algorithm that, hey, somebody's engaging with this content. I know people that view similar things to this person. Let's recommend it to more people. And that's how it works. And it is lovely. And it really, really helps the channel. Screw separation! What, John Soper, where are you in the whole scenario of separation or not separation? Are you on the separating side, or are you on the side that would be separated from is the question there. When I was your age, I was just as old. Yeah, there you go. I like that. That's a good way of putting it. We want independence. Yes, and that's growing. The independence movement for Alberta is growing, and I largely think that if Alberta gets its independence, then it's going to go to Saskatchewan for independence. It'll put British Columbia in a real hot spot. A real hot spot, and calls for independence are growing. They're not quite there yet in British Columbia. Ride the algorithm, Clyde. Yeah, that's how it's done. Get those likes in there, and then that algorithm picks you up, and you just ride that wave. Smooth sailing. Republic of Alberta. Sounds good, don't it? Oh, you're in Ontario, John. Yeah, I can understand why you wouldn't want Alberta to leave the country. I get it. I absolutely get it. It wouldn't do Ontario very well. Nope. But it's a fair situation in my estimate that a province that dishes out way more than they receive would try to make negotiations, and when the federal government is just like, nah, we're not going to negotiate with you. We don't like we don't take kindly to your kind of kind. Yeah, it leads people to go, you know what? We're just going to take the next step. And that's the way. Like, what did Trump call it? We'll do it the easy way, or we'll do it the other way. I lived in northern Alberta for 2 years. Okay, interesting. I'm not trying to single you out. I get it, and there are people who are against it, and that's fine. That's fine. I respect other people's opinion on that matter, but I do see a point though that, you know, people in Ontario likely won't want Alberta to leave, but it's largely up to them. Most of northern and eastern BC wants to leave with Alberta. You're absolutely right. It's all the lower mainland that is against it. It is all the lower mainland that is against it, and that's unfortunate. And you know, as long as David Eby's in power, he's going to be completely against it. He'll do everything to squash that, and it's not. Yeah, that's not happening. Dave B with a $20 super chat. Great content. Thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. What in particular tonight that you really liked? Just throw it in the regular chat. You don't have to give a super chat, Dave B. I do appreciate that. Yeah, because the lower mainland sucks beans. Angela, you're talking about your territory. I guess. I guess that's, yeah. I love going to the U.S. U.S. is great. The Confederation is broken. Time for this Jew to emigrate to Israel. I'll always be Canadian in the old school way, but we have here now is far from what I grew up with. Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. Do you think Israel's a great place to go right now? That sounds scary to me. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, I've always wanted to go to Israel just to see like the old historical sites, because I grew up as a Christian, and you know, you have all of those sites. But now ain't the time for me to go visiting there. No thanks. Oh man, I'm gonna wait until things cool off before I put that on my my agenda of things to do. eBay. Whole show so far. Glad I moved to Saskatchewan. Awesome, Dave B. That's awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Even me getting myself into a frenzy with a bunch of angry woke mobs. Woke is left, not right. Yeah, that's why they specify the woke right. The woke right. It's the woke right. And yes, they are woke. Where I was gonna pull up something. Where was it? Where did it go? Where did it go? Because it was a really good one. Oh, it was about the woke rights or whatever, woke right people. Don't tell me I lost it. Please don't tell me I lost it. Dang it. Did I? Because if I did, that sucks. No, I wanted to show you guys because I hadn't read through it all the way, but I knew that it would be interesting for the live stream if I was able to. Man, my notifications are just filled like crazy today. So finding it in there might prove difficult. I might find another way to discover it in a second here if the fruits of my labor don't pay off. Oh, yeah, I think I retweeted it. That's why. I believe I did. Or did I? What? Did I not retweet it? Oh, got it. Got it here. So, Jeff Evely, I've had him on the show before, and he does great work. He does great work. He's with Veterans for Freedom. He served our country. Absolutely, thank you for your service, sir. But other than that, he's a veteran, and he's very outspoken about this stuff. And I love his points of view. Like I haven't read through all of this, so this will be a moment for all of us together as a crew. And then, of course, don't forget, after the live stream, we always go into the Discord server to go hang out and chat. And if anybody wants to come in and have a chat, it's the link is only ever available during the live streams, and the link expires. So it's not a link that can be shared around, that kind of thing. But if you're keen and you want to come in and chat with all of us at the end, link is right there in the chat. Grab that up, join us over there. If you don't know what Discord is, it's just another social media platform, but it's just chat rooms, but it has excellent voice and video chat for group conferencing, and it's free. And yeah, we like to go in there, have a couple more wobbly pops and enjoy that. So yeah, if you're keen and you want to, of course, any trolls get kicked out immediately. That's the end of that. But if you want to come in and have a chat, that's fantastic. We'll get into that. Yeah, I am a firm believer in free speech, but free speech always works this way. You have a right in the town square to say whatever the heck you want and whatever. That's your business. But if you come into my house and you start jumping on my sofa and blah, 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 I have the right to kick you the hell out. That's the way it works. If you come into the Discord server, that's the rules there. That's the rules. I don't have to take what you're saying. I can kick people out. It's my house. So keep that in mind. But we are about having open discussions and stuff like that. But yeah, no abuse or being a troll, any of that stuff. So again, link is in the chat. Join us. Have some fun after this. Let's get in this. Jeff Evely with a thread on X talking about the woke right. And he says, I ran an experiment and it's official. The woke right is a real thing in Canada and the greatest non-governmental threat to the success of the PPC. He's a big PPC fan. I'm not largely a PPC fan, and it's mostly because of the woke right. The woke right have definitely dominated that group, and some people are there for the right reasons. Like I said before, Payman Ascara, I love that guy. Absolutely love that guy. He's fantastic. But yeah, there's a lot of these characters in there, and he's talking about this, like how this has actually killed their movement. It sounds like this is where it's going. I'm using Dr. James Lindsay's term woke right because it has traction. Personally, I think it's more like residual wokeness. Perhaps we're describing separate but overlapping phenomenon. As I described before, they're identitarians. This is where this comes from. Jackass Whiskey and Pinto Beans with a $5 super chat saying, when I was a male prostitute in Key West, I think I met Johnny. He was jacking a 1990 Camaro. What are you talking about, dude? Man, I'm lost on that one. All right. PPC is Canada's first, and Canada has no business getting involved in this war. However, Canada first does not mean white nationalist or anti-Zionist. We're explicitly against identity politics. But of course, wokeism is that exactly. The colloquial definition of woke is willingly overlooking known evils. I have a sense that everyone in the populist movement understands that this is fatal for a society, regardless of the position on the Israel-Hamas war thing. So, yeah, he's got some images here of the woke right, input force, output force, awakened, awake, populist movement, and then throw this, your whatever wedge, woke wedge that you have in there. And then he screenshot this one. The woke right are going to be so triggered. Let the spurging begin. This was after President Trump. If all hostages are not returned by Saturday at 12 o'clock, I will say cancel it all and bets are off, all of them, not in drips and drabs. Yeah, Trump works in absolutes, and it's fantastic. I like it. I absolutely love that. Mary, happy Friday to you as well. Happy Friday to everybody. Wokeism is division at its worst. Yeah. Well, what do you think racial segregation is? It's division. Absolutely. So racial segregation is woke. It's the old Jim Crow. Jim Crow, famous Democrat who wrote racial segregation laws. If he was around today, he would be known as woke. That's the thing. But he would be considered woke right. A Democrat. Yes, that's right. Woke is anti-white and is anti-Christian. Then stuff hits the fan. Let's see if woke lives. Well, no, woke right is not anti-Christian. It's very Christocentric. But it, again, is divisive and uses identity politics, all of those things, is authoritarian in nature. This is the idea behind it. So Heritage Front, we talked about this. For those of you who will take issue with the implications of the above meme, that is the part of the PSYOP. I offer a parallel, the Heritage Front. The Heritage Front was a white nationalist movement that started in 1989. Incidentally, we talked about this, how CSIS was involved in the formation of it. They don't have clear records that that was their intent, but it was their money that went into it, and one of their informants. Heritage Front rioted with a group called Anti-Racist Action on Parliament Hill in 1993. In 1994, they developed a hit list of 22 people and planned an attack on the Canadian Jewish Congress. And you wonder why the Jewish people in Canada want to have an organization to help protect themselves. This is a real threat. This really happened. The primary target of the attack was CEO of CJC, none other than Bernie Farber, who currently runs the Canadian Anti-Hate Network, which that network ended up turning into a piece of work of their own, right? The Canadian Anti-Hate Network turned into a woke left organization that was literally made to only make slanderous pieces on people they politically disagree with, and then allow the news media to run shot slander on private individuals all they wanted, and all I could say is, well, it's the Canadian Anti-Hate Network that said it, not us. We're just reporting on the news. You get it? So this is how it's on both sides. It's crazy. You get this on the extremes, run on both sides of this whole thing. So Jeff keeps going. He says Heritage Front. One of the co-founders of Heritage Front went by the name Grant Bristow. In August of 1994, the Toronto Sun reported that Bristow had been receiving money from CSIS, which he used to fund Heritage Front, and that he incited the violence on Parliament Hill. In other words, there would have been no Heritage Front without Grant Bristow. Why would CSIS run such an operation? Oh my goodness, I didn't know that this was going to go into this. Jeff, you were on the same page as me. Holy crap. I'm really, really happy about this. This is great. Heritage Front. In 1994, it was revealed that CSIS used Grant Bristow to infiltrate the Reform Party. Man, you did all my homework for me. Thank you. Oh, dude, Jeff. Man, I want to give you a big high five right now. In 1994, it was revealed that CSIS used Grant Bristow to infiltrate the Reform Party, serving as a bodyguard for the party leader, Preston Manning, as a massive rally in Mississauga on the 12th of June, 1991. They apparently did this to undermine the Reform Party by creating a perception that it was linked to racist groups. The PSYOP of the PPC needs to watch out for this. You can view the Fifth Estate's 30-minute report on Heritage Front here. Dude, you got your homework done. The woke right versus residual wokeness. The woke right, tribalism, question mark. James Lindsay defines woke right as a segment of the right that exhibits characteristics and adopts methods of segments of the left and are considered woke. They lead with a sense of shared victimhood. If they sound like victims, this is what's going on. Believe that power suppressed ideas are more likely to be true. So if people don't like your ideas and they shut them down, it means it's true. This is where it's coming from. Or if people want to shut you down, which I don't agree with. I agree with letting people with horrible ideas let their ideas out into the sunlight, because I think the answer to bad speech is more speech, in my estimate. So that's definitely where I am on that page about this. Their suppressed ideas are more likely to be true. Believe in oppressor-oppressed Marxist narratives. Reject empiricist epistemology. Objectivity, embrace identity politics, and engage in cancel culture. That is a great, absolutely great definition for the woke right. Where James and I part company is whether the religious right is part of the woke right. I think that is just good old-fashioned tribalism. Tribes or cults complete with their own dogma. Heretics of one of the faith which haunted cancel culture. Wait, sorry. Faiths are witch hunted. Oh, okay. While these concepts apply to my definition of residual wokeness, my definition is necessarily Marxist in nature. That does not appear to be the case with James' definition. Correct me if I'm wrong. I can toy with that idea and hear it out. Woke right versus residual wokeness. The residual woke, the awakened. In my view, the residually woke are the awakened. From the meme in the first post, we have all been indoctrinated into Marxist ideology over the course of our lifetimes. Some of us are further along in our awakening than others, no disrespect intended. A segment of the right still believes certain Marxist narratives. Marxism is essentially a secular religion. Residually woke beliefs around Jewish global dominance and Western war efforts from the basis of the tribal dogma. They are therefore awakened to a new critical consciousness in line with the Marxist Frankfurt School critical theorist review, in which our society sucks and needs to be reshaped in the Marxist image. Blasphemy-induced triggering adherents to cry heresy and go for the pitchforks, cancel culture. Yeah, that's what I went through today. They are attracted to the PPC and seem to project their twisted values onto the party, which they witch hunt and cancel any heretics of their woke religion. I will discuss some of their beliefs about Jews and Western war efforts below. Interesting. Yeah, the meme here. Are you sure? Yes. What is this? Oh, yeah. Okay. I get it. But anyway, moving on. Where did we go? So wokeness, the product of anti-Western psyop. The anti-Western psyop is an anti-merit psyop. It fosters its sense of a grievance and resentment in the have-nots towards the haves. It appeals to the human proclivity for deadliest of all sins, that being envy. Cain slew Abel for being a better man. Primates compete with one another to improve their status in a hierarchy, whereby improving their chances of survival, reproduction. The weak tear down the strong, a tale as old as time. In the Marxist paradigm, they are not allowed to have any heroes, only dear leader. Statues are toppled and war monuments vandalized. War veterans are pretty obvious targets of this psyop. We are the one group of people more likely than any other to stand up to the Marxist coup. This is why Remembrance Day has become a struggle session in which we all must atone for our racist past. One trait that is shared between the decidedly Marxist and the residually woke is their hostility towards war veterans of Western nations. Interesting. The woke right versus the residual woke, the based awake. We've got Theorica with a $20 super chat. Thank you so much for that. Since we're reading about the definitions of woke right, Brett Weinstein had James on recently. Is James Lindsay wrong about the woke right? The title, if anyone is interested, I just watched it the other day. It was okay. Interesting. I know the podcast of the Lotus Eaters has challenged the woke right in their own way. They don't agree with James Lindsay. There's a bit of a contention going on there, but the woke right does exist. I absolutely believe that. Now, this is a long thread, so I'm gonna cut it at that. But it's definitely a really interesting read. Let me leave a link in the chat there for you guys, so you can read in on that one at your leisure, because this one's really good. Yeah, the Lotus Eaters are based, but I don't know if I necessarily agree with them on their portrayal of James Lindsay. This will prove you're a psyop, Clyde. You should leave the Marx topic. Why? Because I'm pro liberty, and I don't like calls for authoritarianism. You want to debate just Marx with me sometime? No trolling, just civil discussion. I don't do debate me bruh stuff. I don't do the internet blood sports. I've seen guys from that. It never goes well. It always turns into something else. Can we just be nationalist? Yeah, a person can totally be a nationalist, but it's when people say like they're a white ethno-nationalist. And I'm not kidding. Some people are getting mixed up in this whole thing, because they're like, oh my God, Clyde's saying, because people are saying Clyde's saying this, and I'm not. No, taking words right out of my mouth. I said that people who want a white-only Canada and want to make steps to go towards making Canada only white, I'm completely in total disagreement with you. The only way to attain that is to kick people out of the country that have lived here for their entire lives, possibly generations. It's the only way to make that happen. So, nope. And I don't even have wiggle room on that one. Like there's no, it's just a straight up no. And I don't care to even discuss it. I've heard some like seriously disturbing verbiage that comes out of this group as well. It's one of these ones where what was the term? Have you ever heard this term? Dissimilation. Dissimilation. So we all know the term assimilation. So assimilation is the idea of moving to a new place, and then you don't know the customs or the ways of the place. So you do your best to adopt those customs, and you become part of that society, and you assimilate. It's a great thing. And it's the reason why unfettered immigration is terrible, because you end up with these enclaves of different groups, and then those groups become tribal, and then tribal whatever is not good. It's not good. But believe me, you can have immigration that doesn't do that, and it has not, and the immigration that doesn't look at race, right? I grew up in Windsor, Ontario. My upbringing was a mix of everybody. A mix of everybody. We all were Canadian. We all had Canadian accents. We all didn't see each other as anything but Canadian. We would have the Carousel of Nations and stuff, and we would learn about different foods and different dance and different aspects of culture of the whatever ethnic origin that people came from. But they were all Canadian. They all behaved like Canadians. That was a thing, and it was because there was no enclaves and stuff like that. It's not good. Like, having that stuff pop up in society is detrimental to society. It's not good. I grew up in Windsor also. Awesome. I got out of there as soon as I can. But it's because I wanted to go on bigger and better things. But that's the thing. I'm cooked. Am I? What's got me cooked? What's got me cooked? My really mainstream thought on that. I mean, it's not crazy. Theorica with another $10 super chat. Oh, I too believe that exists. I think that the definition is the problem. Funny, right? Because the definition on the left is also elastic. Coincidence? Identity politics is crap. Period. Yes. And the only reason why the term woke right has stuck is because the woke right hate it so much. It's like you get the nickname that you react the worst to. You can't help it, but that's exactly the way it goes. And people, especially if you're not liked, you're gonna get that name. Moonglow for $2 says, thank you, Clyde. Great topic. Marxist woke right. It is. And here's the thing. I don't think that they're politically on the right, because I go by the old political scale, which looks at things very differently. If you look at the old political scale, it's totalitarian all the way on the left, and it's total anarchy on the right. No rulers versus totalitarian rulers. Anarchy or totalitarianism, enslavement. That's the political scale. It's very simple, and you don't need to do the fancy pants horseshoe or any of that stuff where you love freedom so much that somehow you become a totalitarian. You kidding me? Like, no, it's just like, you look at the scale. If it's too small, you can't read it. On the left, from the right to the left, it says fascism, then socialism, then communism. That's where it is. That's where it is. Authoritarians that rule by racial decree, they're over there too. They're not on the right. They're on the left. But, that's the thing. So woke right became the nickname for them. They seem to hate it. That's what stuck. And then there you go. You got libertarian capitalism. It's like not at anarchy, right? It's somewhere on the right. That's where classical liberalism is. It's on the right. That's where it is. I've been watching since his channel started. You guys are talking about me. That's awesome. So, yeah, this is my definition of it. I can't remember where I was going with that. But anyway, identitarianism sucks. The idea of making pernicious arbitrary laws suck, and I'll never get behind it. And if that's an unpopular take for you, you're probably not going to like a lot of stuff moving forward on this channel. And I suggest, like, you know, you could hate watch all you want, but you're probably not going to like me because I'm very liberty oriented. And that goes for everybody who is a human being. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what your opinions are. I don't care what your proclivities are. I don't care. I can totally disagree with you, and I believe and I want to fight for the rights for you to be able to not have your rights infringed on. That's my opinion, and I'll fight for those rights for every single human being. That's that. If you don't like that, again, you're not going to like my channel. that's the way. He said it, I didn't, lol. Yeah, I said it. That's it. Is the contest of fascism are actually enviro-fascism? I'm not sure what the question. I'm not sure. You'd have to reword that. Sorry. It's an interesting question. I think the woke right are mad that Clyde, as a white man, isn't a white nationalist. Yeah, maybe that's what they're mad about. He's got an audience. I want him to spout these awful opinions that are contrary to everything that I believe in. And yeah, that's it. Especially like identitarians. Like, why would you latch onto a channel of a channel that's put together by a mechanic who's racially intermarried for like 20 years, you know, with racially mixed kids. That was one of the biggest things I got from the PPC folks that would always be like, wow, you guys are not what you say you are. If I ever disagreed with them, they would all call me race mixer and all this other stuff. Race traitor was another one. Race traitor. Wow, that's a thing. That's definitely a thing. You've definitely said a lot I agree with. Then it slowly sways. Why? I don't know. I'm keeping my philosophy on life is to always, and I could always be wrong about things. I admit that, but I always go from first principles. So any stance that I take, I try to use the Socratic method. You know, let's get down to its basic logic, and then go out from there. If I go back to its basic logic, and then try to use it in another scenario, and it doesn't track, then the logic's failed. And so that's the best way to go about it. First principles and the Socratic method. Fascism was Italy. It was also Germany. It's also China now. It's also Klaus Schwab's stakeholder capitalism. It's the same thing. It's all the same thing. It's an economic policy. People want to see it as a social policy. It's an economic policy, and where economics runs into social issues, it all runs around property rights. Fascism was an interesting way of trying to bring about Marxist socialism, but do it in a sneakier way to convince people that they sort of have property rights by making people managers of the things that they used to own, and then creating this facade of the ability to exchange and do things in what is like a fake free society. But the second the state wants what you have or feels that you're not doing it correctly, they get rid of you and they put somebody else in your place. They usurp that property. You do not have property rights under the fascist model, according to how, like, the Hitlerian model or the Mussolini model or the Chinese model. That's absolutely the way it's going. And I don't think that people who espouse to white woke right way of thinking would ultimately go anywhere but that sort of place, because they don't respect property rights in the foundation of saying that depending, every different regime has a different arbitrary set of rules. The Chinese will have their arbitrary set of rules. The Italians did, the Germans did, but if the woke university types, they have their own arbitrary set of rules. You've got to do this hokey pokey and dance, and you have to capitulate to the whatever woke ideology stuff. It's the same with the woke right. And at the end of the day, the threat is to take away your property, or your mobility, or your ability to even be alive. So that's where that is on that. Now on that note, because we're like 20 minutes over the usual 2 hours, let's wrap it up. And anybody who wants to continue discussions, we're gonna be over in the Discord. Come on over. We're having some wobbly pops. I don't want to hog up the mic on that one. I want to hear what people have to say over there, and be courteous when you're over there. Allow other people to speak, and try not to talk over each other, and we'll have a great conversation. We'll see you on over there, and I'm not sure when I'll see you next. Make sure you get that notification bell rung, because the upload schedule is going to be a little wonky this week, because I won't be back until Wednesday. So I might have some difficult time with that. What's the Discord? The Discord is another social media platform where we can have voice and video. It's like chat rooms. We'll put the link up. One of the mods will put the link in the chat here. There it is. Solar got it. And you can head over there. And the reason why we go to there is because then I can hear you guys talk. We can hear everybody speak. They have the best voice and video groups, video sessions of all the other platforms, and it's absolutely free to use. So you can head over there. You can use the web version of it, or you can get the app. So it works really well on the app. So check it out if you're keen. If not, that's fine. We'll see you all in the next one. Everybody, keep on trucking.